Okay, so you lace up, you get ready to head out, and that twinge starts in your leg again. This week we are going to be speaking to you about niggles versus injuries. Okay, so I am no stranger when it comes to injuries during running, and some of you out there will also have come across the various common injuries out there on your runs. Sometimes though, whenever you go out for a run, you kind of get that bit of a dull ache. It's not necessarily an injury, but it's something that either eases off or it's a little bit of a niggle. So how can you tell the difference between the two? So as you're running and your body starts to get a workout, so do your muscles. As they go through this workout, they then start to grow and develop. And during this phase, it's normal for you to get slight dull, aches, and even a little bit of tenderness and pain and soreness. However, this pain and soreness does not necessarily mean you're injured. It might just be something that you need to rest for a little bit, or it may just be something that a bit of a hot bath will help ease. A very simple way of explaining this process is it is a normal response for your body in the way that it breaks the fibres of your muscles apart and then repairs them back together in order to make them stronger. This is where a lot of those pains and aches come from. Okay, so what is a niggle? A niggle is something that you may feel for a short period of time. It's not necessarily going to stop or impact your running, but it might just take a little bit of time to ease off. It might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable and might just make you wince a little bit as you run, but then generally eases off quite quickly during the run, or if it happens afterwards, it eases off quite soon after that. Okay, so what can you do if you feel this slight, dull, niggling ache? Well, if you are out on a run, you can listen to your body. If you know you've got quite a few miles to go and you are starting to ache a bit, maybe opt to make that run a bit shorter. If it's something that's come about as you've got back from your run, then you might want to opt for something like a hot bath, a few gentle stretches, a little bit of a wind down, and maybe something like a bit of a deep heat gel, just to help relax the muscles around it. I would definitely suggest though that you listen to your body. If you know you do a lot throughout the week, it might just be your legs and your body telling you that you need to cut the mileage back a little bit until you're a bit stronger to take it on. Okay, so what about injuries? Injuries are generally something that really hurt. It's something that's going to impact your running. It's something that might even stop you from running. If you go out for a run and you have a pain that starts up that doesn't start to die down throughout the run, or you have a pain that hits immediately after the run that doesn't go away, you're probably looking that you've got an injury. It may be a sharp pain, it may be a dull pain, and it could be joined by a bit of inflammation, meaning that you might get a bit of swelling. An injury can come about if you've had a bit of a niggle and you've not really dealt with it or sorted it or stretched it. It may be that you have to decide to ice it and rest it for a bit, or even put a bit of compression on it. If you have the same niggle or the same pain that frequents over a long period of time, I would definitely suggest you pop along to your GP and go and get it checked out. It may only be something small, but that something small could have a bigger impact if left unlooked at. And it's always better to take a week off and go and get it checked out and be told you're all right, than to leave it and end up being told you can't run for the next 3 months. Okay, so what can you do if you think you have an injury? Well, if you think you have an injury, then I would suggest you stop running and go and get yourself checked out with a GP. If you try and risk running through a small injury, you may end up making it a lot bigger and taking yourself out of running for quite a long time. You can get it checked out by a professional, so you can either pop along to go and see your GP, or you can even go and find a specialist. There are various different places out there that you can go and find people to have a look at you. So if you need something, say, for your knees, ankles or feet, you could go and head to a podiatrist. If you need someone to have a look at your hips, then maybe you want to go and check out an osteopath. It's entirely up to you whether you want to go and see a GP or maybe go and see if you can find a specialist first, but if you do need a few tips and tricks, then why not go and head to sportsinjuryfix.com, which can sort you out with any of the specialists and find the ones local to where you live. Other things you can do if you are facing an injury is to follow the acronym RICE. Now, for those of you who don't know about RICE, it stands for rest, ice, compression and elevation. And these are typically the 4 things that are followed if you do have an injury. It helps to reduce the swelling and can help to get you back on your feet. And it's also a good idea to have a look into some stretches and some various workouts that you can do to strengthen whatever part you have injured, if you are allowed to do them. If you're really struggling with a pain, then you can opt for some over-the-counter pain relief. You may also want to try some of the deep freeze sprays or even the deep heat gels, Or if you really need a little bit of help, why not pop along to a sports massage therapist? They may be able to work the muscles around the injury, which can help to take a lot of the tension away. As you run, there are always going to be times where you are going to get a bit of muscle ache, a little bit of a niggle, or you may even come up against an injury if you up your mileage too often, up your mileage too quick, or take on something that maybe your body's not prepared for. If this does happen, don't become disheartened. There is plenty out there that you can do that works as cross-training without you having to get the full impact of a run. You may opt for cycling, or you may go and jump and do some rowing, or you may even just throw a few more strength and conditioning exercises into your weekly workout. Okay, so that's a little insight into the various differences between having a bit of a niggle that you can run with and an injury that you really should stop for. Over the next season or so, I'm going to be diving into this a little bit more, sharing a bit more info for you. But if there is anything that you do want to know or find out, or any videos that you would like, please do drop them in the comments below. Well, I just want to say thank you for watching this, and if you have really enjoyed this video, then please do check out some of our other videos, which you can check out just popping up on screen now. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell to be notified of all the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.